People want to show the message, release the messages, show the messages. What are we in second grade?
No, but the girl was. So Dr. Disrespect is finally back on the YouTube space after a 2-month hiatus, and on vacation he finally came back with a stream called The Truth. I thought for a guy like me who made a video addressing the allegations, I should also address his response, because not doing so would make me no better than those who like to label and cancel people over rumors. And unfortunately, that is what this situation has been. It's a bunch of rumors and half-baked allegations of this and that to ultimately call out Dr. Disrespect. Now, in my original video on the topic, I think I came to a fair conclusion. Now, I'm not going to take the stance of guilty until proven innocent, but I can't say the doc is completely innocent. He is far from that. I have seen the P word being thrown around, pretty much admitting that the conversations he had with an underage girl tiptoed into being inappropriate. If that is enough for you to throw the P word that YouTube doesn't like his way, then that is your prerogative. I'm not going to stop you. But for me personally, I think I need to see more evidence until I can throw that word around, just because it is a life-ruining allegation. And I still hold that stance. The public never had enough information to really come to a conclusion like they did. And I never stood by the P word being thrown around because, as I said, that is a very big allegation that is life-ruining and career-ending. And I say this to everyone watching. You can't go around making such accusations unless you are 100% sure, and the only way you could be 100% sure is if you have verifiable facts. Regardless, I want to do my due diligence and listen to Dr. Disrespect and his side of the story.
For almost 4 years, champs, the public demanded to hear from the doc regarding the Twitch suspension. I guess since you all missed the point with my personal statement, maybe it's time to tell my side of the story. Huh, champs? You see, there was a lawsuit pending, and as part of that arbitration, all parties were not allowed to speak publicly about the case. I respected those rules. My lawsuit against Twitch was eventually resolved, as you all know. But even then, as part of the settlement, all parties were still prohibited from speaking publicly about the case or the settlement. However, if one side violated that confidentiality, then the other side could respond. And again, champs, I respected all the confidential obligations.
I would think of all people, you respecting the confidential obligations makes sense because the allegations are about you. True or not, it would still impact your career if anything like this came to light. However, I do feel like a lot of people ignore the fact that there is still a potential minor, in which case maybe keeping all of this confidential was in the Twitch user's best interest as well. So I could understand if that's one of the reasons Dr. Disrespect never wanted to talk about it outside of the settlement, which is why it was part of the settlement agreement too.
Cody, why do this? What was the point? This was settled professionally. And you, knowing how black and white the internet is, you decided, you fucking rat, to leak the reported reason Twitch banned me in 2020. I mean, for what? Cody, why? Did you not know the repercussions from spewing lies about the two-time? Did you not know the repercussions of accusing me, Cody Connors? You see, you don't know shit, and it was obvious from your tweet. You didn't have any firsthand knowledge of my dispute with Twitch. You said that I got banned from Twitch because I was sexting a minor through Whisper's messages? Do you even know what the legal definition of sexting is? I do. And yeah, I used Twitch's Whispers, but trust me, I wasn't sexting anyone. You also said the word minor, Cody. I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement, edited, etc., just to make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it. And boy, oh boy, did they ever, champs. When you and all these so-called journalists, Cody, fired off your tweets? Did any of you consider that the Twitch user may have been over the legal age of consent at the time of the messages? You didn't. Neither did any of these journalists, and neither did Twitch at the time of the ban.
So this point is interesting to me. He mentions that the person who he was talking or texting may have been over the legal age, therefore not a minor, right? So what is this? I mean, this is his old tweet that is now deleted where he clearly says minor. I mean, I'm not an expert in law or anything, but if she was older than the legal age limit, then would it not be in your best interest to make that clear in the tweet? In fact, not use the word minor at all, which you did double down on by changing the word to individual, only to change it back to minor, which doesn't support your case at all. Instead, it makes you look worse. Before anyone says, you're taking his tweet out of context, his words, not mine.
You also tried to tell the world that I was trying to meet up with this user at TwitchCon, but you're wrong. Let's set the record straight. I never intended to meet this user ever. We never made plans to meet at TwitchCon or anywhere else, and in fact, we never met in person ever. They reported on all this based on leaks from 2 former Twitch employees, one of whom was supposedly on the trust and safety team. If these anonymous sources worked on the trust and safety team at the time of my Twitch suspension in 2020, then you would hope they would tell the truth. But apparently that's just too much to ask. If these former trust and safety team members, and by the way, I know exactly who they are, actually had firsthand knowledge, then what they conveniently left out is, 1, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally admitted that the whisper messages were not sexting. And 2, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally acknowledged that the whispers did not constitute child sexual abuse material CSAM. I'll say it again. Neither I nor the Twitch user exchanged any sexual graphic messages or images.
This point he brings up is a good one, and I think this is one of the points I agreed to originally when he did post his first tweet. Because although the claim by Cody Connors was sexting, it is honestly his word against the docs. Cody didn't show any proof. Instead, he made a claim with no substantial evidence to back it up. And unfortunately, everyone believed it because that's just the internet for you. I believe I made this point in my last video that I do not believe the doc shared explicit images because he claims he didn't. And I can't take the position of guilty until proven innocent because that would require me to form a conclusion based off fuck all.
I'm sorry, but mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me getting banned from Twitch in the first place. I mean, how would each of you look if all of your private DMs, your text messages, your chats were looked at, dissected, and taken out of context?
Shit, I'm probably on a watch list right now.
And this is not a situation where a victim publicly accuses someone of wrongdoing. That never happened here. We're talking about allegations that Twitch made against me as a half-baked reason for justifying their actions of suspending and shutting down my channel. Allegations that Twitch made without even a legal analysis of whether the whisper messages were legal. On June 24th, 2020, Twitch's special operations team receives and reviews the user's report. They find no issues and determine that it did not warrant any further escalation to Twitch's law enforcement response team. That would have been the end. That should have been the end. But that partner manager, oh boy, did he had it out. He had it out for the 2-time. He finds out that no further action will be taken, so what does he do? He personally escalates the report to a friend on the Twitch's LER team. The LER team, remember, that's the Twitch's law enforcement response team. The LER analyst cherry picks and sends a few targeted excerpts out of context from the whisper messages to this director. Now, if you do this, you can make anyone's messages look inappropriate, even when they aren't. Within less than 1 hour, this LER analyst and his director have made the decision to suspend me from Twitch. Twitch submits a report to NCMEC. You guys all read those little articles, huh? The NCMEC. Twitch submits that report. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Guess what? As far as I know, and over 4 years have passed, they didn't do anything with the report. As far as I know, they didn't escalate Twitch's report to law enforcement. Mind you, the same people that made this decision admit internally that the messages did not constitute sexting. The same people that made this decision at Twitch admit internally that the messages did not warrant any child sexual abuse material charge. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitted they did not perform any legal analysis of whether the messages exchanged were illegal in any way. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitting that they never investigated the age of consent in the jurisdiction where the user's messages were sent and received. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me without ever interviewing me, the user, or any other third party, including the partner manager. It's fucking unbelievable!
So there's a lot to unpack here. I think the biggest point he has made is the poor internal investigation conducted by Twitch in regards to the Whispers chat. And if what he is saying is true, then his ban was unjustified. Especially when there is far worse on Twitch with actual proof behind it. Like, I can't prove anything he is saying unless I see like legal documents, the settlement, whatever, right? Just to know that what he is saying, just to verify what he is saying, right? But knowing the reputation Twitch has with banning those undeserving versus those with actual violations by Twitch's own TOS, I can see unfair treatment and a fast-tracked investigation being a reason for his ban. However, there's still something I want to point out that he said.
Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitting that they never investigated the age of consent in the jurisdiction where the user's messages were sent and received.
Now, I don't live in the US, so I investigated what he meant by this. Apparently, the age of consent changes from state to state, ranging from 16 to 18, and most states in the US have the age of consent at 16, I believe. So I can only assume that maybe the Twitch user was not 18, but still the legal age from the state they were in. Now, is it right? I don't know. Legally, he isn't in the wrong. Morally, he probably is, given he had a wife and kids at the time.
I'm not going to get into every detail regarding my legal case. But these former Twitch employees that claim to have firsthand knowledge, they just don't have a clue. They didn't report any facts. The judge in the case determined that the Whispers were not illegal. So then why did Twitch use these messages against me? Why did Twitch treat the doc so differently from their other streamers? The reality is they wanted to cut down the doc. Plain and simple. Take a look at some of these horrendous acts of Twitch streamers that were never banned. I've got some examples right here. Example number 1. A streamer that frequently used the N-word while publicly streaming, which constitutes a violation of Twitch's policies if accompanied by hateful intent. Twitch scheduled a meeting with the streamer to ascertain his intent to determine whether his conduct was a violation of Twitch's policies, ultimately determining it was not a breach of Twitch's policies. Why wasn't I called into a meeting? Why wasn't my intent taken into consideration, champs? Example number 2. Streamer was reported for discussing doing things with deceased animals and discussing pedophilia, all while live streaming. Never suspended, but instead given a multi-million-dollar contract. Example number 3. Streamer was reported for a sexually explicit stream involving children and telling children to send Snapchats of them playing with themselves. Never suspended, but instead, given a multi-million-dollar contract.
So now these are some serious allegations that he is making against specific unnamed Twitch streamers. I attempted to look into these so-called Twitch users and their horrific acts, and I came up with nothing. The doc doesn't name drop any of them, but I genuinely cannot find these streamers that he talks about. Because if what he is saying is true, then these are really serious allegations that need to be investigated and reported to the proper authorities. especially the third one, since it is worse than what the doc is being accused of, and second, if what the doc is saying is true, and he's not just doing this to like cover his own ass, if what he's saying is genuinely true, then there is video evidence of this because there's streams of this.
Go back and look at the timing of all this too. The doc's termination lines up with two preferable, profitable, and expensive streamers leaving Mixer. As soon as Twitch knew that Mixer had failed, and go look at the timing. These other expensive streamers needed a new streaming platform. So Twitch rushed through its decision to terminate the tube time.
So one for sure is Ninja, because he was with Mixer until Mixer failed, then jumped the gun back onto Twitch. So he makes perfect sense, because Ninja was also the biggest, or at least one of the biggest streamers at the time of the ban. So no shit, Twitch wanted him. So fast forwarding through Doc's ban in favor of Ninja, who was quite possibly a bigger streamer at the time, makes perfect sense. The second streamer he talks about, though, I got nothing on him.
And Cody Connors, I just have to say it again. Why would you do this? Like I said, this was handled professionally years ago. No fucking wrongdoing.
So that wraps up his side of the story. And I have a few lingering comments that I want to say before I let y'all go. First, I think we can all agree that the initial Twitter post made by the doc does him no favors whatsoever, because what he said on Twitter is the opposite of what he is saying now. The post made him sound like he was in the wrong and that he did the shit that he was being accused of. This statement now is obviously a backtrack of his earlier post, which is also why that tweet no longer exists anymore. You can go search it up on Twitter, it's not there, at least I couldn't find it. The other thing I wanted to point out is that there is still no proof to prove the doc's innocence. He didn't bring up the chat logs, he didn't show any legal paper. What he says I can only describe as a blanket statement of sorts. Now, that isn't to say that he's spewing lies, I'm just saying there isn't any proof. The doc also doesn't tell us the age of the Twitch user he was talking to. I feel like a lot can be solved with just saying the actual age of the user. But I also feel that anyone who is going to support the doc is going to support him regardless. And anyone that's going to hate the doc is going to hate him regardless. There's just no winning in this. You're not going to satisfy both sides at all. Well, I mean, unless one side shows proof. And for those asking him to release the Whispers chat, I don't think he has to. Because no one asked for the Whispers chat, including me, when these allegations started picking up heat. Although I believe I had a more neutral stance, many already decided he was guilty without proof. So if he was guilty without proof, then why isn't he innocent without proof? If what the doc is saying is true, then releasing the logs will only prove his innocence. But no one really asked him for proof when the allegation started, so why now? Why when he's trying to tell his side of the story and give his statement on what happened and the events that transpired? The way I'm thinking about this is, why does Cody get to make what are possibly false accusations without any proof, but the doc is required to show proof in order to prove his own innocence? Again, the allegations from Cody and the response from Doc are nothing but hearsay. There is no proof to substantially come to a conclusion on who is in the wrong. And as I said, everyone who wants to hate the doc will still hate him. And everyone who loves the doc will continue to love him. And me personally, I will move forward with an innocent until proven guilty verdict, because I think based off what we have right now, this is the most fairest conclusion. Damn, this video got serious, huh?